Paul stepped out of a limo to start this week's episode of SmackDown. He walked right to the ring when he got on the microphone and said, "Listen to me, France, I am no parasite," which of course is what John Cena called him last week. I've got the definition of parasite right here, and it is an organism that lives in, or an organism or another species, its host, and benefits by deriving nutrients at the other's expense. And I'm sorry, every time I look at Logan Paul, he is always, what was the word, deriving nutrients. So John Cena was right. He was then all like, ha, I'm American, so I'm not going to speak French, even though later on he spoke French. And listen, Logan Paul is very good at what he does in the wrestling ring, but I thought that was a terrible line. Also, my friends, welcome to Ups and Downs, the only wrestling review show you need. I watch sports entertainment, so you don't have to. And given that we did just have the go-home SmackDown for Clash in Paris, and we were in France, I thought I would take the finger of power, which is just my hand that wiggles around, and if it's good, it gives it up, and if it's bad, it gets it down. It's nice and simple. Unlike my hairline, let's do it. Anyway, back to Logan Paul. He was also all like, oh, TKO, you should be thanking me and ESPN because I was responsible for that merger. When he went on to say it should be called WWMe. And I actually said out loud, which is weird because I watch wrestling by myself. What are you, 12? Grow up. He also thinks that Cena represents the old guard, and if you do not change, you will get left behind, and Logan Paul is the new breed. Shouldn't have said that. If you know, you know. Listen, once again, I'm going to go back to what I just said. Logan does know what he's doing on a microphone, but I think some of the insults or lines he has just need to have a little bit more bite. I'm going to say it. I'm going to do the thing. It was a little bit like it was written by AI. And so, yes, I went and used AI to see what it could come up with, and I know AI sucks, right? But sometimes my brain is like, oh my gosh, it could be funny. And it actually wrote, yo, WW Universe, I hear y'all loud and clear. Boo me, cheer me, tweet me, it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, you're still talking about Logan Paul. I didn't come here to play wrestler, I didn't come here to collect a paycheck, I came here to do what I've done my entire career, take over. I want to be that guy. Now I'm starting to think that Logan Paul actually uses AI. John Cena, of course, then interrupted to a massive evasion, mostly because Logan Paul had said his name a lot, so it is Wrestling Rule 14.8. And he was like, listen to me, you absolute goober. Although he called him a dickhead. You have to be on the fan side, or at least listen to them, because without those dudes, you got nothing. Paul also keeps talking about raising the game, but he doesn't even understand what wrestling is to begin with. And if you want to talk about the original disruptor, well, you're looking at him right now. I even had some brass knucks, but they said word life on them, but I was changing titles and I was doing things my own way. And what was the old guy saying to me? He doesn't get it, and I almost lost my job, but look at me now. Cena then really cooked him because he was like, oh, by the way, you can't even do influencing right anymore, because I saw a big list the other day of the top 25 influencers in the world, and your boy I Show Speed was on there, but do you know who wasn't? You. I was like, man, Logan Paul is having a bad day. He went further as well because he said you keep making headlines, but every time I read the news story, it's always negative news. When he wanted to teach him about respect, when he actually left the ring, and he found that kid who he insulted in Belgium, I was like, I'm just going to admit it, I was having a bad day, so thanks for having my back. Now, two things made me laugh here. One, you have never seen anyone more desperate to record an interaction on their mobile phone. This child went crazy. And also, two, I don't think you can insult someone and then 6 months later go, I'm sorry, I was just having a bad day. If they didn't forgive you, I'd totally understand. He then finished that Logan Paul has 24 hours to get in the best shape of his life, with John Cena's going to wreck him. Honestly, this made me laugh out loud. The camera zoomed into Logan Paul and he looked like a sad puppy dog, probably for real, because he just experienced a John Cena's fine speech. Listen, John Cena is one of the best promo guys ever. When he does hang them up, it's something I'm going to miss the most. I don't really care about Logan Paul versus John Cena, but Johnny Boy just made me give a little bit of a damn. I am giving it an up. But let me tell you this. If John Cena loses, I am going to go on the internet and write a somewhat like angry tweet, but not really, because it's wrestling, you know, should he get that mad about it? But the point is, it gets an up. John Cena's great. The Street Profits were then mad because they want to beat The Miz and Carmelo Hayes later to become the #1 contenders, when WWE did the best thing they've done with the Wyatt Six in ages, because Bo Dallas walked in. He wasn't Uncle Wonky Howdy, he was just his normal self, and he was all like, oh man, I don't know what's going on in the 6th dimension of hell, but my brain is going to come on my ear and sneak down to the grocery store. What he was saying, kind of, is that maybe he was going to drive a wedge between these two, but this is the kind of thing we should do with the Wyatts. Bo Dallas left, and I was like, I don't know what the flubby was talking about, but that gets me intrigued. And when you can't do that with many people on the roster, So you may as well lean into it. When we get our first down of the evening, because we were told that Piper Niven wasn't able to come to France, so I hope she's okay, but we will still have the tag team title match between Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, and the Secret Hervis, because Chelsea Green can take Piper's place alongside Alba Fire. Then, when Charlotte and Alexa were making their entrances, Chelsea and Friend beat them up when the camera went to black, and when it came back, we were just doing a singles match. And I freaked out. I was like, oh no, I've just blanked out, and I think I missed 25 minutes of SmackDown. What really got me is that, of course, WWE knew all this beforehand, so why couldn't we just go out there and let them do a big old promo battle? Like, we don't hear Chelsea Green talk enough, we don't hear Charlotte Flair talk enough, or Alexa Bliss, or Alba Fire. She never gets to say a peep, and for the people that go, it's because they're not very good, which isn't true, but if you give them experience, they can get better. This is going to get her down. I just thought it was a bit lame, if I'm completely honest with you. I was excited to see a tag team match, and we had the teams. And listen, I understand that Charlotte Flair had to go to the back, but how many times have we seen a wrestler go, no, I'm going to fight on, but on this occasion, she wasn't allowed. We then did get Alexa versus Chelsea Green, and instantly, bam, put her one on the dick board, because of course Alba Fire was getting involved. She couldn't help herself with the distraction, interference, and confusion, and it ended when Bliss hit the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, the surprise roll-up. Now listen, I enjoyed the match for what it was, so I am going to give it an up, but I'm also giving it an up because it is nobody involved in this match's fault. It's just strange old booking. Like, I don't think we would do this with many other championships in WWE. And afterwards, poor Charlotte Flair did return, which made it even more confusing, and the Secret Hervis just left her laying. Like, I don't understand what the point of this was. We should have just let them talk to each other. Or, like I just said, do a promo battle. That's why you can't say talk to each other. Sounds like you're just going out for a spot of tea. The other reason it made me a little bit annoyed is because I love the women's tag team title scene. Like, when it's good, it's really good. And this wasn't that. We then cut to Sami Zayn, and he was like, I've got a WrestleMania feeling in my tum-tum. And that means later on, I am going to win the US Championship. Turned out he was right. We also cut to a clip for social media as well, because yes, Cody and Brandy Rhodes have had their second child. I just wanted to stand here and say congratulations to them. That's awesome news. And it's nice to have some positivity in wrestling. Aleister Black and Damian Priest then cut promos on each other, mostly saying, oh man, I'm going to make sure you're in so much pain. And because Aleister Black's was like a pre-recorded vignette, he had been very nice to us, because he had dressed the place like he'd lit some candles and he was in a dark room. It really gave it some ambience. Now listen, I like this feud, but at the moment I don't think WWE is putting their best foot forward with it. But we shall wait and see. But we really do need to do more. When poor Kiana James got Giovanni Vinci. Now, if I didn't have that in my mind, maybe I wouldn't be so concerned. But it was meant to be her versus Michin, and James got her purse. She swung it at Michin, who hit the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, surprise roll-up, and she got the 1, 2, 3. Now, first of all, back-to-back roll-up is never good, for reasons we've already touched upon. But now I am worried about James, because do you remember what happened to Giovanni Vinci? That was meant to be like, he's going to do so great. He got released, and I don't think we've ever heard from him since. I mean, he's probably lost in the Phantom Zone. I'm giving it a down. He did allow Julia to get in there and just whip Michin's ass after this, but I can't even remember the last time I saw Julia in a match, and this poor Women's United States Championship. Like, the Women's IC Championship is right there, over there, hanging out playing Nintendo. Why don't we just copy and paste what we have done with Becky Lynch? Like, once again, I'm repeating myself, I enjoy everybody in this match, but what can you actually do with it? Like, the whole segment was over in 32 seconds. I just don't get it. Shrug emoji, and that could be on me. I am a moron, but I'm giving it a down. I just want more. Busta Rhymes. This is when Drew McIntyre walked out and he wanted to address Randy Orton. But first, he checked around like he was playing an RPG, because maybe Randy Orton is there, because 7 days ago he did pop up from nowhere and he whooped his ass. He then went to Michael Cole and said, do you have any medical update on Cody Rhodes? Michael Cole said no. That was the end of that. Now, once again, Drew had said Randy's name a lot here, so as per Wrestling Rule 14.8, Randy Orton came out, and of course these fans, who were always so loud in Lyon, France, sung his theme tune, when Drew McIntyre was like, listen, if you beat me up last week for you, I totally get it, but if you're doing it for Cody Rhodes, you're an absolute idiot, because I bet when you were out with your back injury, he kept calling, he wasn't checking up on you, he was getting intel, because what did he do in that King of the Ring match? He focused on your back, dude, and that's because you spilled all your secrets on the telephone. That is not a telephone anymore, that's a telephone from like 1984, but Randy kind of understood this. He even said, you make a good point. That's why I like this program. I think eventually Randy Orton is going to go heel because people and the voices do get in his head and he's going to spank Cody Rhodes. Not spank. Randy then made it clear the only reason he beat up Drew McIntyre is because he is a prick when these two had a massive brawl. When out came the useless wrestling security, Orton was like, alright, I'll just beat you up instead. When he saw Drew's head and remembered, oh my gosh, I have a foot, I can plant it in his brain. But McIntyre didn't want to get punted, so he got out of there. He's a smart tamale. This was good. It was nice and simple. The feud is a bit weird because, again, they had that thing at SummerSlam, then it went quiet, and now we've kicked things off again. But I'd imagine that WWE is probably going to do this at WrestlePalooza because they want that match to be massive, although you also do need to do Drew versus Cody. But this is why I like it. We can go in multiple directions. There's multiple things to talk about. And maybe at one point we do have a triple threat match, because WWE loves multi-mans, for the WWE title. And if it all ends with Randy on turning heel, I will be a happy bald man. I'm giving it an up. I mean, really, it's the power of star power. I just said power twice. I should not have this job. Carmelo Hayes and The Miz were then arguing about who the anchor of the team is when once again Bo Dallas walked in, and he was all like, the fire in my tum-tum will get into your sphincter and do terrible things until I fly off to the planet Jupiter and see how many moons they've got. I was like, I have no idea what he's talking about. But he's driving wedges, man. I don't mean a potato. He's trying to split people up because he knows the truth. I am giving this an up because even though I have no idea in which direction it is going in, this is what we should allow Bo Dallas and the Wyatts to do more. If you are going to have spooky wooky characters, make sure they do spooky wooky things. It's the first thing you learn in creative writing school. Nick Aldis then yelled at Randy Orton for beating up more security guards, although he didn't fine him, which he used to do. When Randy Orton did some of the worst product placement I've seen in a while, he just handed him a bottle of whiskey and essentially did the whole tagline. When R-Truth popped in and he wanted some whiskey, but Nick Aldis told us he'd had a bad day, so he's going to get wasted after SmackDown. I mean, really, that could become a story of itself. When it was the #1 contender match for the tag team titles between the Street Profits and Miz and Melo, and if I was Andrade and Phoenix, I'd be raging. They've had so many wins, way more than Miz and Melo, but apparently they don't count. Carmelo Hayes kept making blind tags as well because that is their relationship, but actually it was Montez Ford who got a super duper hot tag and started to beat up The Miz, and even when The Miz thought he had this finished off, it was Carmelo Hayes that got in there. He hit a splash of the frogs, but he only got a 1-2-0. Melo and Ford also did this awesome moment when they just came crashing together. I was like, man, that looked pretty damn good because they're both so damn agile. When yes, we have to put a 1 on the dick board, because we always have to put a 1 on the dick board, because yes, the Wyatts came out, and even though The Miz has been wrestling for over 20 years, he could not possibly handle somebody being on the outside of the ring, so he just froze. He was like, oh no, I don't know what to do. Maybe I'll just completely forget about the match, and he did. I think Carmelo was gotten by this as well, although mostly he was like, Miz, why won't you tag me? Which when the Street Profits were like, all right, we're just going to hit you with the Revelation, our finishing move, and they got the 1-2-3. And somewhat nicely, the Wyatts versus the Street Profits is happening on the pay-per-view. I prefer that, because it makes titles feel more important, so I will give it an up. Like, there's still way too many distractions in WWE. Like, I would hazard a guess, especially because we've been documenting it, that you get more shenanigan finishes than you do clean finishes. I don't think that's necessarily a good idea. I like the match. I do think we should split up Hayes and Miz as soon as we can and push Carmelo Hayes as a single star. But I give it an up. It's a pretty good fight. When, like Britney Spears, it happened again because Tiffany Stratton was looking in a mirror when Jade Cargill came behind her, and unlike normal human beings, Tiffany, for a good portion of this conversation, was like, I'm going to talk to you through the glass, which made them very silly billies. But Jade just said, have you heard the news? I am the #1 contender, mostly because I went up to Nick Aldis and said Geese title shot, and he agreed. Now, the idea of this is at SummerSlam, she did hit the Jaded, but it was Tiffany Stratton's leg that fell onto the ropes, but that's just the rules. You can't act like you deserve another shot. And in between then, I don't think Jade Cargill has won one match. Now here's the deal. I actually do think it should be Jade who takes that title off Tiffany Stratton. Let's give it a go and see what happens. But couldn't she just have had a bunch of matches and killed some fools so everybody, including Tiffany, could be like, oh my gosh, you're going to be my biggest challenge to date. This also went all of 20 seconds, and Tiffany Stratton just does not defend that championship. Again, not her fault, but I'm giving it a down. I just think we can do so much more. That's like the third time I've said it. So Sikoa then promised he was going to wreck Sami Zayn and hold on to his US championship when it was time for our main event. Let's not stand on ceremony, Mr. Wayne. Bam! It's a 1 on the dick board because, of course, who was on the outside? It was taller and the tallest of them all, Tonga, JC Mateo, and Tangaloa, and they kept getting involved. we do now have to give it a down. That's at least 3 times on this SmackDown. Just going to repeat myself, it's too much. And if you know the MFTs are going to do it, don't allow anybody else to do it, because that should be their MO. It did allow Sikoa to get his spinning solo, and finally Jimmy Uso and Jacob Fatu ran out there to balance the books. And this is when I was like, wait a minute, why doesn't Jacob Fatu care about this? He almost had the US title won during that steel cage match, and then we've just forgotten about it. So I'm going to have to assume that him and Sami Zayn fall out soon, because yes, right after this, they were fighting, they were squaring off. Sami Zayn smacked Solo right in the face. When he came back with a kick, that was super. So Sami Zayn did the same, hit him with one haluva kick, hit him with a second haluva kick, and he got the 1, 2, 3. This was awesome for many reasons. 1, the fans went totally mad. And 2, it's just nice to see Sami Zayn winning championships, because he is a top tier star, and he really should go after the world title in 2026. This goes back to what we were saying. Build people, man. Let them do good stuff. And then when they do the gooder stuff, which is not a word, it just makes all the sense in the world. And it is not 2 + 2 = potato. Also, again, given we did do it in Lyon, who always go crazy for this stuff, it was just a lovely, jubbly moment. But yes, it ties into my point that surely next week Jacob should be like, hello, my dear friend Sami Zayn, could I please have a title shot? I get they're both baby faces, but it would work out eventually, I suppose. But I am going to give it an up. You can't get mad at a title change on SmackDown, especially because it always keeps you guessing. And Solo Sikoa is such a good character, it's not going to harm him at all. He totally gets it. That is the best ending to SmackDown for a long old while. And the show itself was totally fine. Again, I thought the best bits were the first bit and the last bit, so I am going to give it an up. We just need to do better by the women's division, which at the moment a little bit jingly jangly, but only takes a few weeks to sort. I now am kind of pumped for Clash in Paris. I don't think we're going to get many big momentous changes. Or I suppose the tag team belts could change hands. We wait and see, but I'd give it an up. Is I. Now, of course, please do like the video, share the video, and subscribe, and let me know in the comments below what you thought of last night's episode of SmackDown. Click the video on the screen, which is ups and downs for Monday Night Raw. And I guess I will see you bright and early on Monday when we up those downs for Clash in Paris. I'll see you then.